everybody hates tipping. It's expensive, it's stressful, and it forces you to do math. Up to 40% of Canadians want to kill it altogether. But I'll tell you who doesn't hate tipping. The people getting rich off it. Now, don't get me wrong here, I'm not ragging on Carol, the waitress at your local Husky House. She works hard, she has weird hours, and could really use the 15% gratuity on your order of coffee and hamburger steak. But at many bars and higher-end eateries, you'd be surprised how many servers make a hell of a lot more money than you think. Bruce McAdams is a veteran restaurant insider who's now an associate professor at the University of Guelph. In a comprehensive 2016 study of tipping in Canadian restaurants, he found that the average server was pulling down about $30 an hour. Those are nurse wages. And McAdams also found a select few servers making way more than that. The six-figure server is not a myth. It's easy to explain when you think of it. Say you're at a restaurant with average tabs of $100 a table, which is pretty standard for a meal with liquor, even at a place like Montana's. Your server probably has about 5 tables on the go. If all those tables are paying 15%, you're already at $75 just for one round of diners. And that's on top of salary. Recall, we're not the United States here. In places like Texas or Utah, servers survive exclusively off tips, since the minimum wage for restaurant staff can be as low as $2. In Canada, nobody's making less than $11 per hour. That's part of the reason it's more expensive to eat out in Canada versus the US, which, of course, means more tips in the end. Something else to remember? A lot of these tips are tax-free. The Canada Revenue Agency requires Canadian servers to report their tips, of course, but let's just say that every time they audit a group of front-of-house restaurant workers, most of them aren't entirely honest in their tax returns. Maybe you don't believe me on this whole tipping thing. Well, ask a cook, who's likely to have some colorful opinions on the matter. Cooks are hit with all the typical stresses of restaurant work, except with more burns, cuts, and lobster attacks. Often they also need special education to be there, such as a degree from a culinary school. And yet, thanks to tips, a cook can often walk home with about half the pay of the people sending orders to the kitchen. And that's even if servers are sharing their tips with the kitchen. One of the main pillars holding up tipping as an institution is guilt. You're some rich boor forcing others to act as your servant, so why not pitch these poor souls some beer money? That's probably true of someone behind the counter at your Tim Hortons or handing you your Amazon package. But chances are, if you make the average Canadian wage of $51,000 a year and you're taking the spouse out for a night out, you may well be tipping a person richer than yourself.